Ren is the protagonist. He was abandoned at St. Anthony's orphanage at a young age, missing his left arm. Ben adopts Ren and joins Ben and Tom in committing crimes, like digging bodies from the grave and selling it to Dr. Milton. Benjamin Nab adopts Ren and tells Ren to come with him. Tom was a school teacher, but quit when he accidentally revealed having an affair with his best friend's girlfriend while being drunk, and joins Ben in crimes.
Miss Sands, motherly figure to Ren, had a gun accident and affected her hearing. Nearly deaf, lent a room for them to stay in. The twins, Itchy and Brom, twins from St. Anthony adopted by Tom. Dolly, dead man from graveyard who came alive. He used to be a murderer. McGinty, antagonist who owns the mousetrap factory.
The Good Thief by Hannah Tinty tells the story of 12-year-old Ren, an orphan with a missing left hand who lives in St. Anthony's orphanage. He befriends the twins Brom and Itchy at the orphanage. Although they fought from time to time, they are still the best of friends. Since then, he spent his early childhood at St. Anthony's until he was adopted by Benjamin Nab.
Although Benjamin was certain he wanted to adopt Ren, Father John warned him that adopting Ren would be a bad choice because he would be unfit in doing labor. Benjamin in the end convinced Father John by revealing to be Ren's uncle and that Ren's hand was cut off by his mother.
After Ren got adopted by Benjamin, they traveled to the farmhouse on a hill and asked the owner if they could stay for the night. Although the owner refused at first, Benjamin told Ren to act pitifully, and eventually the owner's wife let them in. After waiting for both of them to fall asleep, Benjamin and Ren stole a horse and left for Cranston. They met up with Benjamin's comrade Tom, whom was a former school teacher but became a drunkard now.
Benjamin and Tom met a dentist named Mr. Bauer at a rundown building. Mr. Bauer told them about Dr. Milton at Northumbridge Hospital, who wanted bodies to be dug up so he could inspect them. In exchange for the bodies, they will get paid with a huge sum of money. This was a huge risk for Benjamin because if they were found out, they will get arrested. But after being convinced by Tom, he accepts the job. The next day, Ren, Benjamin, and Tom traveled to Northumbridge with the horse and wagon they stole. After arriving at Northumbridge at night, they needed a place to stay. They found a sign that said Mrs. Sand was lending a place for people to stay. At first, Mrs. Sand was unwilling to let them stay, but Ren used the same method he used on the barn owner, and eventually Mrs. Sand let them stay. They learned from Mrs. Sand that the mousetrap factory in Northumbridge is owned by McGinty. At night, Ren went to the kitchen to fill his water bottle and saw a dwarf coming down the chimney and ate the food on the table that Mrs. Sands prepared. Later, it was revealed that the dwarf was Mrs. Sands' brother.
After they met Dr. Milton, who had an obsession with inspecting dead bodies, they headed to the graveyard at night and dug up a few bodies. They found that one of the bodies they dug up was still alive. The survivor, Dolly, was a murderer and later befriends Ren. At a bar, Benjamin and Ren found Tom drunk. Ren witnessed a scene where McGinty's subordinates cut off the bartender's hand.
Coming back to Miss Sands' house, Ren found Miss Sands laying on the floor unconsciously. Immediately, Ren and Dolly carried Miss Sands to the wagon and head toward the hospital. There, Miss Sands made Ren to promise to take care of Dwarf, Miss Sands' brother. Everybody was worried about Tom when he went missing. However, it turns out that Tom went to get Ren's fellow, the twins, Itchy and Brown. When they got back, Benjamin took them all, including the twin, to grave robbing. After they are finished, they caught the attention of McGinty's subordinates. The Hat Boys chased them all the way and they were forced to surrender.
After they were caught, they were brought into McGinty's office. McGinty wanted to talk to Ren and had everyone else leave the room. He revealed that he was Ren's uncle and showed Ren the coffin of his mother, Margaret. With the help of the mousetrap girl named Jenny, Ren was able to escape from the factory. After he escaped from the factory, Ren went to the hospital and found that Dr. Milton was helping Tom with his injuries. Not having the money to pay for Tom and Mrs. Sand's expenses, Dr. Milton instead had Ren sign a contract saying that his body will belong to the hospital when he dies. They all went back to Mrs. Sand's home. After a while, McGinty's subordinates found Ren and tried to take him back to McGinty. With the help of Dolly, Ren was able to climb the chimney to get on the roof. There, the dwarf helped Ren jump from roof to roof to get away from the Hat Boys. The dwarf was able to save himself, but Ren was captured and brought back to McGinty.
McGinty threatens to kill Ren if he doesn't tell him who his father is. Ren told the story of his parents, revealing that his father is Benjamin Knapp. McGinty brought Benjamin from another room and was about to kill him. Just when he was about to kill Benjamin tricked McGinty into witnessing his will and had him sign it. Benjamin knew McGinty would not read the will, which stated that the mousetrap factory would belong to Ren when he dies. Suddenly, McGinty got shot out of nowhere and no one knew how it happened. Benjamin and Ren were able to escape from the factory. They showed affection to each other after Ren knew they were father and son. Benjamin knew their relationship from the beginning when he adopted Ren, but he didn't tell him because he was scared that it might affect their relationship. As they are now more bonded, Benjamin told Ren that he would hide for he will be arrested and hanged if he is found. When they parted, Ren returned to Mrs. Sand's place and found that Dolly died from protecting him from the Hat guys. Mrs. Sands was also back from the hospital, and they lived together from then on as a family. As Ren, the protagonist, matures throughout the journey, he was able to find clues to his hidden parentage. He comes to suspect that Benjamin not only holds the key to his future, but to his past as well.
Our heroes have been forgotten. Our heroes so brave and bold. Our heroes have been forgotten. Our heroes so they got old. Our heroes have been forgotten. Our heroes so brave and bold. Our heroes have been forgotten. Our heroes so they got old. Our heroes so they got old. Our heroes so they got old. Smiles they fade because her daughter only visits once a month. Since she got a family of her own, it's kept the two apart. Used to have so many visitors, but now the only one